Learning to swim as an adult is hard, and maybe not for the reasons that you think. For me, the hardest part is learning to relax in the water. When I started really getting into weightlifting, I was using it as a tool to get out my anger. I was a pretty angry kid growing up. I didn't really have outbursts. It wasn't anything like that. And if you ask my parents, they would have me deal with my anger by drawing an angry picture because I couldn't really get the words out. I think a lot of us are like this. When I found weightlifting, it was awesome because it was the closest I could get to smashing something in a way that was societally acceptable. I mean, no one likes it if you're punching holes through walls or anything like that. I could drive my anger through the floor and I could over-tense my muscles out of anger and it would make me a better lifter. But when it comes to swimming, can you imagine a long-distance swimmer sniffing smelling salts and jumping into a pool to swim really fast and rapidly? I could imagine that, but it would be a humorous image and not an inspiring one. Being an angry swimmer would probably make me splash more, but it wouldn't make me more effective. In fact, it's kind of the opposite, at least as it's talked about in this book, which, as the author says, is all about finding ease and relaxation. And right now, I'm finding it particularly challenging. So I'm going to explain how I'm currently trying to find ease using the exercises from this book. This is what I'm working on, mostly exclusively in a pool. Because I don't have someone under the water with a camera filming me as I'm swimming by, I'm gonna show you what I'm doing on land in front of this river that I've been using for cold acclimation. Just imagine that I am in a pool and it's blue and I'm underwater. And then this will make more sense. The first one, which is the most hilarious because I think it perfectly demonstrates exactly what I'm talking about, is lying on your back in the water. Never mind that the water underneath me could be full of unknown varieties. So as not to think about that, I am instead thinking about a cue, which is that I should be pressing down into the water through my upper back. Not hard, no, not hard, no. Gently, gently, press gently. Not a press it, but a press it. Just press the water gently. Oh, and you should also tuck your chin in this one. And then these drills that I do after that, I'm focusing on my torso and only my torso. I switch back and forth between holding my arms at my sides like this, or out in front of me like the nose of a fierce white shark, like this. And so in this position, in this exercise, what am I doing? What is it that my torso is doing? Here I'm flat and I'm thinking, press the buoy, which is where your lungs are, which is where your chest is, and which is where you have the most air. And as you can see here, I'm gracefully rolling from one side to the other. I've been working on this drill specifically because, as he talks about in the book, you're trying to find a way to be more like a sailboat, which is moving like this through the water, like that, rather than some kind of like situation. A boat that does that. And finally, I take a swing at mimicking the other swimmers, and I add everything together, the torso, the legs, the arms, and breathing, and I try to make it all work, even though I've just mostly focused on the torso, still working out the arms and the legs. That will come later, that's okay. And thus far, I've gotten to a point where I can swim 2 pool lengths, so that's exciting. And this is the real kicker, which is the breath work of swimming. This is a specific recommendation from when I was in Barcelona working with the guys at Radical Swim, and I was asking this question. I haven't yet finished this book, so we might talk about breathing at some point, and I could change my mind about this, but what I'm working with now, which makes sense to me and is particularly challenging, is that first, before you start to swim, you want to take a normal breath, like just the way that you would as if you were going for a walk, as opposed to taking the biggest breath in and then just blowing it out underwater and then gasping for air the second time and just doing that again and again. I'm gonna pretend to swim here for you so you can see it. So if I'm about to go, I take a normal breath in, I put my head under, In that moment that my head goes under, I hold my breath for a little bit and then maybe do one stroke, and then on the second stroke, start to blow it out. And I'm blowing out through my nose and my mouth. And then when I take my recovery breath, which I'm taking through my mouth, I'm not waiting until I run out of air down there. So I'm not going... You have to relax to breathe. If you're going in the water clenched and angry and tense, it's gonna be hard to breathe, y'all. It's gonna be hard to breathe. And so now that I'm doing swimming, the thing that I'm most uncomfortable with is I'm not really sure what to do with my anger now. I'm still doing some lifting, but there's gonna be a point in my training program where I'm gonna really have to bias towards swimming if I wanna hit 10 miles, where I'm gonna have to drop off with the weightlifting. And I'm nervous because I don't know what exactly I'm gonna do with my anger or where it's gonna go. Maybe, just maybe, I'll aggressively edit YouTube videos. I'll get it out that way. Or maybe swimming will somehow change that in me. I sometimes wonder if, when I weightlift, if I'm getting my anger out or if I'm sort of reinforcing my anger, which is an interesting thing to think about. And I will leave you with that. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. It would be awesome. If you have no idea what this is all about, that's okay too. But basically, I am on a mission to do as many sports as I can before I turn 40. I'm the old age of 33. Just kidding, that's not old. That's not old. By the end of all this, I probably will feel old. Or very young, who knows? That's why it's an experiment. And thanks for watching, and I hope you have a lovely week.